So you lost weight before, but you also gained it back. And you might have even gained more weight back than when you were before you first started your weight loss journey. And you probably, maybe you even did this more than once. So I've read this crazy statistic not too long ago. 97% of people who lose weight gain all that weight back, sometimes with interest, within the next 3 years. 97% of people who lose weight gain the weight back within 3 years. I lost 86 pounds almost 8 years ago now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you how I was able to be in the 3%. You know, what do I and others who are in the 3% have in common so that you could, apply it to what you do so you don't have to be in the 97%. And then, hopefully if this message reaches enough people that 97% number could come down within itself, right? I want to teach you how to actually lose the weight and keep it off for good. Okay. Like I said, I'm 8 years of running. I'm way past the 3-year mark. Okay. So the whole approach to weight loss is backwards. Like we've been taught backwards. And it shows, right? If we were taught correctly, weight loss wouldn't be such a thing, right? But it's a huge, it's $1 billion industry, and it's because they teaching us wrong. Like, why would they teach us right? If there's no problem, there's no solution to sell. You know what I mean? So this is what I like. If I was to ask you, how do you lose weight? Many of you would say, some along the lines of eat less, move more, or calories in, calories out, or just eat better. Start eating salad, start running, start walking, get on a treadmill, hit the gym, get a gym membership, right? And I'm not saying that that's completely wrong, but what I am saying is perhaps that's not the perspective we should see it from, okay? I, as a 3%er, would boil it down to this. I'll boil it down to this one word. And we have to know how to create and build momentum. We have to know how to create and build momentum. What am I talking about? Like, what does this have to do? What is just think of momentum. Momentum is what? If I was to ask an average person how to describe weight loss, especially keeping it off, they would say it's hard. Clearly it's hard. That's why 97% of people can't keep up with it. So they describe it as hard. But momentum does what? Momentum is the thing that makes hard things easier over time. So imagine you on your weight loss journey and you're 3 years into your weight loss journey and it's 10 times, 100 times easier than it was from day one. Do you think you would have gained that weight back? How could you have if now things got easier? Because that's what momentum does. It makes things that are hard for you today easier tomorrow, assuming that's the way momentum is going. And the problem is, so that's this way, right? So let's say weight loss. We build momentum to lose weight. We'll say weight loss. Okay. And we want momentum to go that way, right? We want to move forward. And now it's easier over here, right? So at the time, it becomes 100 times easier. Maybe that's too ambitious. Let's go 10 times easier. Okay. Let's keep it ambitious. Let's keep it realistic. And people's problem is, so this is the way momentum goes when you do it right way. When you know how to create momentum and actually build momentum properly, like create it on purpose. A problem is many of us have momentum. All of us have momentum. The question is momentum going in the way you want it to go, right? Have things been becoming more difficult for you lately or easier for you lately? Like think about where you were 5 years ago. You think about your goals. The goals that you have not accomplished over the past 5 years, has doing what it takes to accomplish that goal become easier or harder than it was 5 years ago? If it's become harder than it was 5 years ago, and it's usually the case if you haven't accomplished the goal within 5 years, you have momentum going the wrong way. It's going against you, right? So you have momentum going this way, and now those things are 10 times harder. And that's really the problem. That's the real problem. Damn the calories for now. Damn giving up the fried foods and eating and juicing and eating alkaline and all. Damn all that for a minute. The problem is you don't know how to create momentum in your favor. And momentum is going against you. And it gets harder and harder over time if you don't know how to build momentum the way you want it to go. Okay? The way that you want it to go. Now, so how do we do that? 1 second. The question becomes, how do we build momentum? Because things is going against you, right? You then got even bigger over these past few years. Or maybe if it's a money thing, you have to work even harder for that same dollar, or the bills that went up. You know, inflation went crazy. Like, all this momentum is going against you. And the difference between those who are successful and those who are struggling is those who are successful, they know how to build momentum. They may not know that they know. They may not know that they know how to build momentum. Like, even with me, when I went on when I was starting my health and fitness journey, I knew how to build momentum, but I wouldn't have put it like that, right? I didn't have the language to say that. I just tapped into knowing how to make things easier over time, but I wasn't like consciously saying, yo, I gotta know how to build momentum. I accidentally did it. And then when I figured out how to do it on purpose and I created that and I duplicated that success in others, I said, oh, it's a scientific formula to this thing, right? You gotta know how to create the momentum and build it so it can get easier over time. Now, how do we do that? How many of you have heard of what's called ATP? And if you've been following me for a while, you probably have heard of it. Okay, how many of you guys have heard of ATP? ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate. They make this all one word. I like to break it down so you can see what's going on. Okay? Adenosine triphosphate. Why is this important? Why am I talking about this? Why am I bringing up these big old fancy words, right? Adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, is commonly known in the scientific community. A nickname for it is what's called the willpower molecule. Okay? So willpower molecule. What's one of the main reasons why people say they struggle with whatever they're struggling with, especially in trying to eat better or trying to exercise, trying to do right, trying to build this habit, trying to break that habit? Yo, I just need to be more disciplined. I need more willpower. If I just had enough willpower. Well, what we're going to discuss today is how to actually build that willpower. Is you can literally measure it. Okay? You can literally measure it. So what happens is this. Every day we wake up, we should have a full bar. We don't always have a full bar, but it gets restored overnight, right? So, okay. So this is going to be our willpower bar. Right? Boom. Now, when it's like this, it's full, right? So when we go throughout the day, we're making all of these decisions. We're making all of these choices. Some of them are choices that are easy. Some of them are choices that are hard. Some of them are choices that go against our natural urges. Okay? Every decision you make throughout the day, no matter how big or small, just deciding what color shirt you want to wear for the day. Boom, you made a choice of what color shirt you want to wear for the day. That takes away a little bit of energy from your willpower molecule meter. Okay? What do you want for breakfast? Do you want toast or pancakes? Okay, I'll have some toast. Okay, cool. You made a decision. It brings down your willpower meter a little bit more. Now you have less energy. As this gets lower and lower, it gets harder for you to make the decisions that you know you need to make that you don't feel like making, right? When this gets lower, when this gets empty, you give into your urges. You do, like, you just give into your urges. You follow, like, you can't really build a new habit. To build a new habit, we have to keep this full, right? So now let's say you're making a decision. Women, when it's time to eat, when it's dinner time, for some reason that's a difficult choice. And that probably takes a lot of energy out of them. But I'm not going to use women tonight. But whatever. Let's say whatever choice you got to make. Let's say it's let's say it's a choice that goes against your natural urges. So if you're trying to eat better and you want that Twinkie, and you finally find it within you to not eat that Twinkie, you go eat a turkey sandwich or something. But it takes a lot out of you because you really wanted that Twinkie. That brings your willpower meter down a lot. Okay, it'll bring it down like that much. It's only so many of those choices that you're going to be able to make successfully, right? And now you got to decide, do you want to go to this grocery store, that grocery store? That brings it down some more, right? Somebody says something crazy to you. You want to cuss them out, but you want to keep your job. So you got to respond to them in a respectful way. That was hard for you to do. So that's going to take a lot of your willpower molecule down. Now you don't have a lot of energy to work with. And now you have another decision that goes against your natural urges. It's late at night now. You done had a long day. You about to sit down. You about to watch your favorite show. You not trying to have no snacks because you on this diet. You don't want to make the fried wings and dip it in the ranch and have the drink to go with it and maybe some ice cream. You don't want to do that. You don't, because it's not in your best interest, but you feel like doing it. It's your natural urge. It sounds good. You don't really have enough energy to override making that decision and what's better for you. You give into your urges because you don't have enough energy left to make the decision that goes against your urges. So decisions bring it down little by little, and the harder it is to make that decision, the more of the energy it takes away from you. This is what's happening. This is why. So, and it's kind of like you get a little bit going, you get a little bit of rhythm, and then 3 years into it, you're like, yo, I'm done. I can't do this no more. You start gaining the weight back. Okay? So, what's happening is this. So check this out. Some of our willpower meters, like we all have different amount, right? Like, so some of us, our willpower meter, it's only that long. Pause. And some of us may be that long. Pause. And then some of us may have a very long willpower meter. Pause. Which means what? We can afford to make more decisions and more tough decisions. Right? We can afford to make more decisions and more tough decisions. Also, some of us have learned how to make it to where you're not making a whole bunch of decisions because that adds up. Right? Think about successful people like Steve Jobs. And he wore the same clothes every day. He wore the same black turtleneck or whatever with the blue jeans every day. Why? It's one less decision he has to make. A lot of people, they eat the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Why? It's less decisions they have to make. They understand the importance of this. I'm not saying that they know specifically what this is. What they're doing is they're preserving the energy to make tough decisions. Because when it's time to make a decision that actually matters, they need to have as much energy. They need to have as much as this willpower molecule possible available to them so they can make the decision that's going to keep them successful. Okay? Hope that makes sense to y'all. So that's what I've already shared with you, like one way to do it. So that, like I said, this is why a lot of entrepreneurs, they wear the same clothes, they eat the same things, they have a lot of the same routines. They save this strictly for like an important family decision or important business decision. Everything else they have automated. They either have people making those decisions for them, they delegate it, or it's the same thing every day. So that's one way. I've already shared with you one way of how not to run out of your willpower molecules so fast. Set your life up to where you don't have to make a whole bunch of decisions that don't really matter. And just think about it. We be spending a lot of time making decisions on stuff that don't matter. Does it matter what color shirt you're going to wear today? Does it matter it matters what you're going to eat today, but not really. Like, it's what are you going to eat the most of? Because if you're going to spend so much time to eat this salad today because you're trying to lose weight, but you're going to eat BS for the remaining 6 days of the week, you just wasted a whole bunch of your willpower molecule meter for nothing. So we got to set it up where it's automatic, okay? So now, like this is part of building. This is part of building a momentum. Having enough Because the thing is, the more you make a certain decision, the more you make the same decision, the less of that meter you have to use every time. So yeah, it may be tough at first, but if you can continue to make that same decision over time, that becomes your new habit. It uses up less of it, and then it actually will use up more if you do the opposite. So for example, with me, excuse me, like water. All I drink is water. Water, tea, coffee. 99% of the time is water. So it's never should I have lemonade or should I have pop? It's automatically water every time. The first time, yeah, it was kind of tough. I really wanted the root beer. The second time, I got the water again, took up a lot of my meter. The third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, by the time I got to the fifth, the sixth time, it didn't take up as much of my willpower meter. And now it's at a point where if I decided to drink a pop, it'll take more energy to decide to drink the pop over the water because that's just not my character anymore. My willpower, it'll empty out fast. I built momentum going that way. Okay? So, when it comes to losing weight, that approach, I would argue, is a losing approach. Clearly, let me share you with this. Let me share this with you. Your body doesn't want to lose. So it's no wonder when you force it to try to lose weight, it fights against you. It feels hard, right? Your body doesn't want to lose. Work with your body. Your body wants to be more. Your body wants to be more. More what? Your body wants to be more resilient. Okay? Your body wants to be more stronger. Okay? It wants to be more faster. This is what it wants to do. It doesn't want to be less of itself. It wants to be more. And when we take more of an approach like that, it wants to be more healthy. It wants to be more efficient at its job, keeping your ass alive and thriving. It wants to be more of that. It doesn't want to be less of anything. Okay? And once we understand that and approach it from that perspective, we find things get a little bit more easy and we start to build momentum. Okay? So, your body wants to be that. Let me put this too. It wants to be more healthy. Your body literally wants to be that, and it's doing everything in its power to say that. You just have to stop getting in its way. So stop getting in its way. Don't hate your body. Love your body. Let me tell you something else. We'll gain a lot of body fat. We'll look in the mirror and we'll feel ashamed of ourselves. And then we'll start to hate our bodies. Especially, men go through it too, I'm sure, but I know women go through it a little bit more because, so much, society places more value on a woman's looks than it does on a man's look. So that kind of, they kind of tie their value with it a little more. And you're looking in the mirror and you're hitting your body because it has more body fat on it than you want. And in areas where you don't want it at, we really should be appreciating your body because that body fat is evidence of it trying to help you. It's evidence of it being healthy. It's evidence of it being resilient. It's evidence of it being stronger. Okay? It's evidence of that. How so? What am I talking about? Fat cells are, to put it short, it's a little more complex, but to put it short and sweet and simple, body fat is produced in the body to store all the toxins and poisons that you put in it to keep it from going in your bloodstream. So all in all, fat is produced to keep you alive. It's actually, so then when you look at it from that perspective, you notice it's actually a healthy response. Your body's fighting for you. It is doing that because you didn't know any better, right? We didn't, listen, especially those of you around my age, if you was born in the 80s babies, no, earlier than that. I would say our parents' generation. This is when junk foods really took over the market. We didn't know any better. We would just market it, say, yo, eat this. Breakfast, the most healthy meal of the day. Have this refined carbohydrate cereal for breakfast and eat the pancakes and syrup and butter for breakfast, first meal of the day to spike your blood sugar so that you're hungry all throughout the day. We didn't know any better. We was all fooled and scammed. We were scammed. And then by the time we know any better, we didn't build momentum going in the wrong way for decades. And then we're like, oh, maybe it's just genetic. No, it's not genetic. Okay, they done study with twins and they've proven when one twin makes these decisions and the other twin makes those decisions, the twin that made these healthy decisions was healthy and slim and fit, and the twin that made the unhealthy decisions was sick and overweight and things like that. It's the decisions, it's not the genetics. Stop it. Okay? You just scammed. That's all. You was fooled. It's not your fault. So when you look in the mirror and you see all the extra body fat on you, be grateful that your body fought for you. forgive yourself because it wasn't your fault. And then we just make the necessary adjustments and start building the momentum to go in the direction we needed to go in a way that serves us and favor us so we can live our best life. Because as far as we know, we only live this thing once. As far as we know, we might be some reincarnation, might not be. As far as we know, we live this once. Let's try to get it right. Okay? Now, some things we've been taught, we haven't been taught the complete ideas, and then we have blind spots. So, okay, one of the most powerful things you could do, one of the most common popular things out there is what? Having a morning routine, right? Because it sets the tone for the day. Nothing wrong with a morning routine. What there is something I would say is wrong with is not having what I would call a midday reset, okay? Or rest, MDR. Why? I mean, afternoon crashes are a thing. We wake up, we wake up, we make our beds, we have a coffee, we do our meditations, we might, we'll do our exercise, we'll do our affirmations and all of that. And then that's all we feel like we need to do for the day to make it through. No, by 2 o'clock, you nodding off, you crashing. The caffeine done wore off and all of that. And then a lot of times people's remedy to that is just drinking more coffee. And then they compromise you to sleep at night. Like you get caught in this cycle that doesn't really work. And even though you had your morning routine down, so you thought, you're still not getting those changes in life that you desire. You know what I mean? Midday reset. Just think a sports team, right? Like we just had the Super Bowl, okay? When the Chiefs played the Eagles, and they played 30 minutes of hardcore football. It's one of the most physically demanding sports ever. And then what do? They'll take up this a halftime break. They take a break long enough for Kendrick Lamar to come out and do a whole performance, or Beyonce, whoever's performing that year. They'll do a whole performance while the players is back there resting. Okay? Or same thing with basketball. There's like in all sports, there are halftime breaks. We don't take halftime breaks for ourselves. Okay? And it's not even a break necessarily to relax. We actually need to do the opposite. It depends on what we're doing, right? If you're doing something that is very demanding and intense, then you may need to take a midday rest. Okay, but for some of us who what we do isn't as intense, and maybe you're sitting at a desk the whole time, maybe you're studying, maybe you're writing, so you're not doing nothing physical where you need to rest. You need to do the opposite, right? You need to get your energy back up. You need to get your energy back up. Okay, and that's what I teach, like how to do these things in the program. Everybody's midday reset we have like the 2 different types in general, but even then it's different. There's like 3 different types for each of the 2 types. And that's something we do more in detail in my coaching programs. But very important, game changer. So imagine, just think how. Well, you do your morning routine the way you want, right? You made your bed, did all the stuff. You exercise, you meditated, you did your breath work, you did your yogas and Pilates, you listened to Eric Thomas and whoever you listen to in the morning, your Tony Robbins, you did your affirmations, you did whatever you do to wake up in the morning to start the day off right. And then you have all this momentum earlier in the day. And then what happens? It wears off. Imagine having that same momentum, feeling just as energetic again come 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon. How much more productive could you be if you was able to tap into that type of energy, right? That's one of the things I did with the client. I've talked about him before. When he came to me the year prior, he was an entrepreneur. He had a staffing agency. He made $50,000 for the year, right? And then he was on pace to do 50,000 again. We worked together for 3 weeks. We made 50,000 again within those 3 weeks. Him going through my midday reset protocol that was designed specifically for him was what helped him do that. Okay. That's what helped do that. That's why people invest in these programs that I have, because it really changes your life. Like, just think of the ROI he got on that, right? I didn't charge him $50,000 for that. He more than made his money back what he did invest with me though. So just imagine what that could do for you. Like if you had the right midday reset for yourself. So yeah, we have morning routines. We also need to have midday resets along with our nighttime routines when it's time to go to sleep. Because sleep is also very, very, very important. Okay. Now, what else do we need to build momentum? So when you think about it, we need to be, and I learned this from, I heard this from Alex Hormozy. We need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And it makes 100% sense, because even when you study, like most 95% of what we do is from our subconscious mind, right? We just have all these automatic thoughts. It's automatic behaviors. It's automatic, right? So automatic that it doesn't bring down any of your willpower molecule, right? And so the more good habits we put in our subconscious, we download in our subconscious, the better we are, right? We need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Why? Because eventually it becomes an automatic habit once we are reminded. And even when we learn, like one of the fastest way to learn, they call is space repetition, where you learn something and then you test yourself on it 5 minutes later, then again like a half hour later, then again like an hour later, then like 4 hours later, then like 16 hours later, then a day later. And the more you keep going back to memorize it, the more it gets, the more you automatically learn it, and it's ingrained, and then it's just like the second nature to you. Okay, so but I say that to say we need accountability, right? You need to take account. There is nothing that gets accomplished without accountability of some sort. And we may just think of accountability as like somebody telling you, hey, you need to get to it. Like, that's not what I mean. Like, you have to just take account for it, right? You think of a business, they have it's a whole thing. Like they make careers out of this stuff, man. You have to really track what you're doing so you can know the type of results that you're getting. You need some type of accountability. One of the biggest things I see when people come to me and they ask, yo, they trying to lose weight, they always say, I don't even eat that much. We know that this really can't be. I would love to say that that's really the case. I would love to tell you, yeah, your metabolism just jacked up and this is why it's going to work for you. No, the real reason is you haven't been really accountable for what you've been consuming. It may seem like you don't eat that much because we tend to only remember the meals that we ate, and we only eat 1 or 2 meals a day. So in your mind, if you don't have this big old crazy plate in both of your meals, or in the one meal you have for the day, you register that as I don't even eat that much. But we forget to account for all the snacks that we had throughout the day, the bite of your kids that you had, the little mini meal that you had because you think it don't really count like that, all the drinks that got the calories in it, that stuff that you got from Starbucks and all. Like, yo, trust me, you do eat that much, but you're not really accounting for it. You're not really paying attention to what it is. And sometimes you need a second set of eyes on you to help you with that, right? Accountability is not to say that you're just doing these things irresponsible. It's like, yo, you just literally thinking some things don't count when they do. That's another reason why I created like the programs I have. And this is why people who have coaches or go through programs have more success, because they have accountability. Things that they didn't even realize they were doing. Now they're being held accountable for. Not to say that now you're in trouble. It's like, yo, did you even notice that you was doing this? And when you do this, this causes this. And this is why this is happening. And that's why you haven't succeeded. So if we change this here, boom. Oh, shit, I didn't realize it. That's what I mean when I'm saying like accountability. And many people just don't even realize what they're doing. So you need accountability. Okay? So when we do that, when we start holding ourselves accountable in whatever way you want to hold yourself accountable, whether you start writing down everything you do, whether you have an accountability partner, whether you get a coach, join the program, whatever, however you see fit to make yourself accountable, once you learn how to extend your willpower molecule meter, and make each decision that you make less consequential to that willpower meter. Okay. Once you implement the proper midday reset for yourself, things that are hard today become easier over time, and it all becomes automatic. And you can't help but to be healthy. Like it's, and that at that point it becomes harder to do the other things, right? And also something else is education, right? And I don't mean just awareness is one thing, but actually learning is another. There's a difference between becoming aware of some new information and actually learning the information. There's a difference. There's a difference. Many of us, we become aware of stuff, but we're not learning nothing, and it kind of makes it worse. It's so crazy. I'll talk to people who's struggling with something, and I say, "Yo, you know, you need to do this." Oh yeah, I know that. But well, act like you know. If you know, act like it. You didn't really learn. You just became aware of something. There's a difference. So not only do we need to so we have to first become aware, then learn what we became aware of, and be reminded of what we're learning and actually practice it and repeat it and being held accountable for it. After a while, you start to build momentum because now this new habit, this new information is downloaded into your subconscious, which uses less of your willpower meter, right? And as we implement more healthy habits and the right nutrients and stuff in your diet and things like that, it extends your willpower meter pause, and things just become easier for you. You have built momentum, and now you can do whatever you set your mind to doing, especially losing weight and not gaining weight back 3 years later, thus becoming part of the 3%, hopefully 4 or 5, 10%, because the 97% won't be as high once you come into knowledge of like what I shared in this video. Okay, so um, before I let you guys go though, I'm having a challenge. You can join the challenge. Okay, the no challenge fast. It's a no struggle challenge. The no struggle fasting challenge. There we go. Tripping. No struggle fasting challenge. I'm all about making things easy. Okay, so it's called the No Struggle Fasting Challenge, and I have other videos about the power of fasting and how that was the real secret behind what I did. But and one of the best ways, probably in my opinion, the best way to spark your momentum is with fasting. But fasting the right way. So many people do it wrong. So many people do it wrong. Okay, so sign up for that No Struggle Fasting Challenge. I have a link to sign up. Okay, general admission is $30, or you can get the VIP for $100, where you can ask questions and actually keep the recording. Take advantage of that. Okay, take advantage of that. Actually, take action on what you learned today. Do not let this just be another video that you watch where I share this valuable information with you and you feel like you learned something, but you don't actually apply it. Take action on what you learned. Keep the momentum going while you feeling, especially if you're feeling inspired right now. Go sign up for the challenge. Right? Go sign up for the challenge and let's make it happen. Okay. So I hope this helped somebody out there. I'll check you on the next one. Peace.